As we begin today's beautiful practice, allowing ourselves to continue to be at this in whatever space we give to each other, allowing ourselves soon to discover where we are internally in our ways that has us remember this for today and many days. And whether there be a word or words to speak, allow them to be held and supported as we reap every every sowed seed we give, and every sowed seed we water and relive, as we allow our intention now to ebb and flow and allow this beautiful thought pattern to go as it may. And so, in these next 10 minutes, allow yourself to be present and allow everything that is around you to be accurately sent. Selfish. In this current space, allow everything undone that may feel clouded or heavy to now sink down into the ground, where your feet can now root and find a new place as you allow this vessel to bring you light and have it find flight in its best state. And as it directs itself to current and familiar energy, allow yourself to gaze deeply in what direction that gives affinity, not to your love or the things you may loathe, but everything. When you release any attachment and allow yourself to be so bold, to know everything is serving for you to become the best. And whatever that might be, let go of the protection and allow everything at rest, to feel in the state that it is exactly where it must be, and allowing yourself that same space with that divine clarity that this community has gathered to give you support in whatever you take on, for whatever and for how long, and for whatever it might be that they are in your life as well. And as you give this a presence, allow any word or words that spell out from another, or maybe from your own mind, whether it be vocally or intentionally, allow everything to feel kind. And for whatever you hear or whatever you feel, allow it in this midway reminder to give everything in a space that's held in complete play and laughter and wonder for all. And thank you for coming together for each other. For as long as you may feel this call, for this is only a 10-minute practice that we do on a daily basis. And whatever it brings to you, know together we can face this.
Perseverance.
Say that again, Desiree.
Perseverance.
And in conclusion, slowly bringing yourself back. Allow everything to be completed as you celebrate the fact that you are here in this morning, in this moment that we share. And for whatever opens up in reciprocity, I welcome you, if you dare, to listen with a whole heart and share with all love, knowing that everything, even if it feels like a lesson, comes from whatever is above, knowing that we are supported here in this human experiment, allowing ourselves to connect with ourselves with no need to be hesitant, to be fully expressed and fully seen is such a true practice that we love to have it on a daily being for as long as we can be at this. And so as reciprocity gets shared today, allow yourself to be seen and allow other people that same identity for whatever that may mean. For as long as you are here and as long as you give yourself breath and full body of this moment, allow yourself and others too to know that they can truly own it.
Good morning. My phone is on 4%. I'm tired and I'm living into my way of being now is dictated by my future because I have to like rush and try to get something done. And I just like feel like giving up, like going home and be like, F it. But I'm just gonna end. I will persevere because of who I saw myself to be. And like I'm an attorney. Like I had my whole introduction last night and I was standing, it didn't meet my expectations. And I'm just, thinking, reflecting. We missed out, the forum leader missed out the part where you make the exercise, the exercise about the way of being, the actions you've been taking, and that creates the enrollment. However, she said enrollment was still present for some, but the percentage of enrollment would have gone up had we not skip a slide. So it wasn't perfect, and I got to, it wasn't perfect, and I got to just go with the flow. I got to go with the flow, and I also stood. I stood, I said something, and I'm satisfied, but I am also disappointed with how we are being. And there was something in the space. But, I learned things and I can't wait to have my next one and have all of you play with me. I'm complete.
Desiree, I acknowledge where and how much you showed up these last few weeks for this big event. And I release any of the expectations of how it ought to have gone to make room for how it was. And I would love to know when we are actually going to be having another introduction with you, beautiful Empress.
Thank you. I'm tempted to give you a date right now and say the 12th of next month, but I won't be too hasty right now. Thank you. And yes, I need to make room. I do. And I know something was in the space and What held me back from saying anything was I could have been fully self-expressing, just say what I have to say, but I don't want to come off judgmental and accusatory. She already have that in her listening. And maybe it could have been a judgment, but I wanted to share responsibly and I wanted to get some coaching around that. And we defer that conversation. So it will happen. I didn't share it, but I will. We will I think she was being a brat. Probably was at some point, but it was just crazy. Ugh. I have to switch on my computer because my phone is gonna die and it has issues when it dies. She calls it our humanity at play. So I take that back. But the registration manager called us brats. He said that and then we lived into it.
You know what I get, Desiree, is that brat. What brat means to me is the inner child being defensive. The inner child, right? So, and that's each and every individual human being on this earth has a past where their inner child decided something, made a choice, or mostly decided, because I think as children, choosing is a different distinction, right? So being a brat is really just thinking about me, me, me. And it's a less emotionally evolved way of being, right? And sometimes it's important to go into the red. Me, 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 me. I'm the ego. I want what I want. I want it now. I'm the power god. You know, as Tony Robbins would say, I'm the power god, right? The terrible twos and that sort of thing. Noticing that is where the power is, right? Noticing that and noticing that as a trigger for something, for us to be something greater. You know, when we notice our flaws, I think that there's a message behind it. When we notice our flaws, we tend, they transition or they transform before our eyes, not as flaws, but as stepping stones into something else. So there's the flaw of whatever, the flaw of being selfish, you know. And then as soon as you notice that, you're like, okay, you know, the other side of selfishness is unconditional love for other people, you know. So we're not going to have one without the other. So they do, you know, brat versus wise adult, right? As soon as you notice the brat, only the wise adult would say, "I'm being a brat." So you've made that distinction, and that's what when someone says you're being a brat, they're saying, "Okay, trying to pull out the wise adult out of you." Like, all right, I got it. Thank you. Thank you for seeing me as a wise adult. Got it.
Janine, I really love that you asked me when is the next one. Like, I really can't wait to play. And I mean, I have no I'm glad, she kept saying that what was clear, she's standing for my life and me choosing and, not running out of time. That is super clear. And she was like, this is she, Sammy, I asked her if she was practicing like the Friday. She said no, and then she got like defensive. She said, I'm good, like I don't need to practice, more or less. But I did ILP twice. Yeah, she's an event leader, and it's almost like I was being invalidated and she was making it whole way. Like it's just like one of those strong personality, controlling, where they squeeze you. I don't know. I guess and she mentioned like I might be I'm a perfectionist. No, my therapist, perfectionist. So, I'm referring to what I learned in ILP. And I'm younger. She might think, who is me to tell her what to do? She got this. That's kind of her personality. I say, I expect you to be preparing. So now she missed the slide and I text her. I text her in the introduction. And I said, I request you go back to that 3-part exercise because enrollment is not present. And afterwards, she said, I have to be mindful of my words because that could throw somebody off saying enrollment isn't present, And I do get that. Or can I say what I say? Or can I say what I say? But I get to be more responsible. I worked really hard to get people there, but I also did share myself. That was the breakthrough I wanted to have. Full self-expressed, vulnerable, and brave. So I don't want to look at all the negatives. Like Jenny said, create space to see how it went, all the positives. Yeah, let's start from gratitude. So yeah, I'll debrief it later with the registration manager and then I get to talk to her on the weekend. But I saw myself as a lawyer, as an attorney. I'm so proud. And she saw me as that and held me out to be. So I need to just I'm gonna get it. And I often invalidate myself. So I could see myself moving away from that a bit. So it's just more practice. So I think after I clear with the registration manager, then we can automatically schedule another one, I guess maybe tonight or maybe, soon. So thank you. Samira, I look for your contribution too as an event leader, head coach.
The similarities are uncanny. What you went through and what Samira went through in other experiences, it's uncanny. It's almost as if Samira was talking about her experience. You are a leader, really? You're a leader? There's so much missing in your leadership. Sorry, I'm having fun. Actually, I'm not sorry.
That's good you're having fun and that's good you're being fully self-expressed and being not sorry.
No, I was dropping in and out of awakeness. And and what I'm present to is the lightness that you are and the joy and the contribution. And, maybe there's like a little bit of concern of how things will go. And at the same time, that's just because you care. Yeah, that's what I got.
Thank you.
And you got this. I've been thinking a lot about how people are where they're at, like where we are right in this moment. Like, what did it take to get to be right in this moment? What did my spirit create for me so that I was right in this moment? What is my lesson that I've created for me? And if I've created these lessons for me, then everybody's created their own. And allowing for the dignity of that, of, people will move through what they need to move through the way they do, not the way I do. Um, it's so interesting. So I was on a call last night, and the call was about like how when you have um when you have like a conversation to have people take action, right? And that there's different stages of where people can be. They can be like when they first hear it, it's like, is this legit? Like, is this a real thing? Um, and then the second thing is, um, does this would this apply for me? Would this be something that um that I could have, benefit me or is related to me in some way, right? And then, the third stage is like where it's like the consideration of money, or like, do I see the value so that I can do it if I want to do it. And this is not just about like, it's like any kind of conversation that you want to have, where you want there to be action, you want somebody to register into something, for example, right? Registration. I didn't want to necessarily use that word, but we use that in Landmark anyway. And then the fourth layer is this something that is relevant now, like right now? Do I see a thing that I want to do this now? And we did this thing where you practice, you go in the breakout room, you're like, okay, share about something, right? I was like, oh my God, I hate having these kinds of conversations. Oh man, I don't want to ask anybody to do anything. I don't want it. I don't want to. And part of it is like, I don't want to deal with rejection. I don't want to be seen as weird. I don't want like any of those things. I don't want to have to deal with it. So it was like the way it occurs, like the way that my experience is it's like, I just want to open up a restaurant and people will come to eat if they want to eat. I don't want to send any marketing. I don't want to be like, hey, I'm here. Come and eat this amazing food. It's like, come and eat or don't come and eat. There's lots of places to eat. It doesn't have to be mine. Even though I also know that the food you can get in my restaurant is not like food you can get somewhere else. Oh man. Okay. So here's something else that happened that I want to share about. So Oh man, I didn't think I was gonna cry about this, but who knew? All right, so I have a patient who's he's having a really hard time in his life, and he's like one of my favorite patients. And actually, it's really funny because Mint says to me, "All your patients are your favorites. You have so many favorites," and it's true. It's like I'm kind of like like a hotel, like the Waldorf Astoria, and whoever's at my registration desk, that's my favorite. That's what my mom used to say to me. She was like, "Your heart, it's like the Waldorf Astoria. Then somebody come through the door, that one your favorite. Then they leave, then another favorite come." I'm like, "Yep." Anyway, he's going through like a really tough like separation. He got served by his wife. He didn't even know that she wanted a divorce, and she served him and has like this like nasty lawyer, and she's gonna want to try to take full custody of their 3-year-old daughter, and he loves his daughter so much. Anyway, so I told him, come to the landmark farm, see if there's something there that you can have some freedom. Come in, and even if you don't do anything else, you can, you know, you'll have some distinction, right? Like when David says he got acknowledgement. And I really am so happy that happened, that that you came to the introduction, right? So I saw this patient yesterday, and I said, you know, so how are you doing? So he said he would come, and then he ended up not coming. He had like other things happening in his life, and obviously, when I saw him yesterday, I said, how are you doing? He said, I'm not doing so well. My brother just dropped dead yesterday. And I was like, oh my gosh. He said it was completely like, it just from like nothing. Like there was nothing, not expected at all. And his family, everybody's just devastated. And I got, and so I know this isn't true, but this is how it's occurring for me. I got that I failed in having him see what there could be for him if he actually did the landmark forum, because he could have been complete with his brother. Now maybe his brother could have been complete with the people in his life. And that didn't happen. And I know that I have it like I feel like it's a failure, like I did something, like it was wrong. And I get that. And I don't even like I don't even really want to go there. Like, because I'm like, well, you know, there's choice, there's life, there's so many things, right? It could have been that he wouldn't have even gotten that. But that's where I'm at. I'm like, oh man, what if this meal in my restaurant is gonna be the meal that makes a difference? And I didn't tell this person sufficiently or whatever. Like where was it stopped for him? Where was it stopped in those 4 stages? And and I, you know, that's kind of where I'm left. Where I'm left. Like I think that there may be, like, he was kind of not so much like, is this legit? Maybe that was it. Maybe he's like in the first stage of, is this a thing? Or maybe it was like, is this the thing for me? Um, Maybe it was like, is this the thing for me right now? Something like that. Anyway. So what I'm also reminded of is that I want to like be sure that I tell everybody, and I tell you, each of you, that you're remarkable human beings and I love you. And that's one of the things that my kids got from when they did the children's forum. Like they got that, especially Georgie, like every time we say goodbye, whether it's I'm going to sleep or I'm going to school or I'm going somewhere, there's always a I love you so much. I love you. I love you so much. So you never know if that's the last conversation you're going to have. So last night when I talked to Georgie, he said to me so many times, I love you so much. I love you so much. And I was saying it too. It was like as if I could like fill up his cup with with, with like this love. So it's like so he's always present to how much I love him. And yes, I have the concern of what's happening with the world and with the impact of how there's so many toxins and there's so many things that I don't have freedom to speak about for myself because I get that I'd be seen as some wacko or something like that. Conspiracy theory, whatever. But then I hear like so many people dropping dead from nothing. I'm like, really? Anyway, it's a separate conversation to have, a separate time, perhaps. Who knew I was going to be emotional? Oh, because the new moon. Yeah. God dang it. There we go. See what happens, Desiree, when you ask me to talk?
It is a crying season. I love everyone that's just crying and being vulnerable. Continue being a stan every time. And a remarkable contribution. Everyone, let's be a remarkable contribution. Passing the gift on.
Well said, Desiree. And it's kind of, I don't even know what the word is. I guess I'll use remarkable too. It's remarkable how within a 24-hour cycle, certain words literally create our world. And so, Desiree, I wanted to gift this to you because this was a line that was probably being said. I almost want to say probably at the time you were having that conversation. And thank you for stepping into your attorney love. Like just the idea that you are by the word, like you are by what it is, and also being so generous with humanity, with the compassion to know that to human is to err. And wherever we are, I love that last night, this woman, Amelie Bobbin, had said, the words we say are much less than what we are thinking while we are speaking. Because I don't know what enrollment means for everyone, although what I got is that you had people enrolled enough to say yes and be there with you last night. So as far as I'm considered, sis, like the enrollment for whatever came next was in their hands. You gave them an opportunity. You gave them an invitation that they were so joyful to accept. And I honor whatever happened in that space after. And I continue to be in just, oh, you made it. Okay, sorry. Anyway, yes, it was you, as far as I'm concerned, based on the measures we had for you, Empress, prior to, like, you had it, you hit it, you did it. Oh. And it's funny because I feel like that's where my selfish keeps coming up. And I love that Sammy, you were like having the giddiness. Like, I feel like there really is something about us realizing this experience is all of us making it, and all of us are having our own individual experience of it. And I love that you had mentioned the word brat earlier, and hearing Sammy give his definition and then being in that giddiness of like, I'm having a lot of fun with this. I'm hearing it from my Empress as I've heard from my Empress cousin. And it made me just in this space again, bring in the midway reminder of trust. Like, to think that we have to do all the pieces by ourselves. My gosh, like, there are some people in my life that I get to hold compassion that there is that listening for themselves. Like, how lonely can someone be to feel like they have to do everything? To know that you did the invitations, you had the Zoom, you did your share, and then you trusted that the forum leader, or I think it's the introduction leader, was going to do her part, whatever it looked like. I'm so grateful you trusted your people with someone to create the opportunity. Now, whatever happened after that, I'm still there for it, because I recognize, and I'd love to hear David's take on this too, of where Sammy took a whole room today in the morning rush around the difference and how sometimes we collapse love with trust. And it was funny, Sammy, as soon as that popped in my head during the midway reminder, like, my trust really saw like my midway, like, kind of like little spiel. I feel like I was tapping into Samira, because all of a sudden I saw this light inside of me and it took flight, and I was like, where did it go? And it went down. I was like, well, light doesn't go down, light's supposed to be up. And it was just interesting because then I saw, I guess it was 2 weeks maybe ago, where it was on Wednesday. No, it was last Wednesday. Again, I think everything's coming together, and she had painted this image in my head of like that Da Vinci man. I think it's called the Renaissance man, where he's like similar, like symmetrical all around, and he was just swirling in the air. And then the internet took her out of our listening, and so then we all had to like land the plane, and then you came in, Sammy. Now I feel like I'm speaking about a dream. Anyway, I'm grateful that today's meditation had me going through so much of where I'm still dissolving certain words. And I feel like one of the words that I really want to disappear in all the ways that it can be seen as selfish is selfish. Because I realize, like, to your point of what a brat is, it's just that inner child trying to like create, and also knowing that the brattiness itself in my mind is almost like, I want sugar. It's like, it's 9 p.m., go to sleep. It's like, there are some of our moments where we have been denied that so much that then we see adults do it to a point where they literally are diminishing themselves, just trying to have that love. And I want to hold selfishness today in a new light without having it be like this iconic thing, just as another word, kind of like how Derek always brings into our atmosphere of just let those words pass through. Don't serve them tea. Because as I sat in selfish, it gave me this sense of trust that all words in whatever world we're creating them is helping, hindering, and harming us almost all at the same time if we do it too much or if we do it too little. And so it was like almost like this Goldilocks complex came to me for trust. It was like the shiny word of like finding the perfect balance for myself that's just right, that just tastes so good, that I know that I'm not gonna like, I don't know, gluttonously try to dissolve all of it, because it's more fun to share it. Like, and I want to share my trust with everyone today. And I don't know where that's going to open up, but I get that if I really close my eyes, my light inside will fly to the open windows it wants to go to. And I also accept it's not always going to be the same window it wants to fly out of. And so thank you, because I realize that more than us creating these words, we then get to live into worlds that we get to witness for each other too. So thank you for acknowledging me, Empress, and wanting to know by when we will be celebrating another beautiful introduction for you, because I get that you are now enrolled in school as of Friday. I get that you hit your measurements of 9 people at this event. And I also get that one of the biggest things we can do in the moment, like, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Samira, that we can be present to where tears may want to come, and we allow them to, even if they weren't expected. Oh, I am complete.
You know, hearing you, Janine, I just kind of want to take a nap now and curl up under the warm blanket because that's that's what I got from what you said. Everything's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be okay. It's all good. All of it. Oh yeah, you know what? And I see this, Janine. You are passionate love, passionate, playful love, and I want that. I want that for you. I'm creating that for you all the time, all the time. Yeah. I don't know where that came from, but I think I do. So I'm gonna stop there.
David. Are you with us, David? Creating space for what has been said and welcoming everything that has been left unsaid in such a perfect way to have everyone know, not just in their head, but in their hearts, they are seen. They are called forward as an extraordinary human being. And not only how they are shared, but in their listening. And thank you so much for holding this space with all capacity. And as we give one more final breath, allow ourselves to release anything that is left unkept, allowing everything to be perfect in its messy and magical way, as we will continue to explore for everything that is sure to unfold, at least in today. But before we go and melt in all the beautiful ways, who amongst us within the next 12 hours or 24 can possibly help and to come back to this community at least once more for another gathered meditation practice? Yeah. So for those who can be here tonight, excite and be delight with Sammy's beautiful voice as he will guide us. And if not, come back in the next 24 hours to have another word meditation provided with us. I love you all so much.
Love you back.
Guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And in the words that I learned from Reverend Michael Lung today, in Lakesh, yeah, I'm not with you all. Everyone.